Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? So, if my voice sounds a little bit weird than normal, a little bit softer than normal, I just wanted to let you know that I am currently stuck at home, sick. So, a couple of days ago, I just got tested positive for COVID. So, and that is the reason why. But I will tell you, I feel like I'm doing a lot better than most people who got COVID. As you can probably tell, I'm still speaking to you and recording this podcast episode for you. So the first day I slept so much. I had like a 11-hour sleep and I was just like waking up tired, getting chills. I think I also had a light fever. But now by the third day, I think I'm feeling so much better. So I'm just gonna keep on taking care of my body, drinking lots of hot water, and then sleeping a lot. And I think that really got me thinking about like really recording this episode for you today. It's all about resting. I will definitely tell you during the past few days, but I'm just resting a lot. I've gotten so many kind of like I really felt like resting has do so much more than just letting my body recover. I feel like mentally I'm in a much more like a calmer, more reflective, more intuitive state. And something that I am also starting to think about when it comes to these kind of sicknesses like this is that I really see it as a recalibration of some sort. Of like, for example, the day right before I got tested positive for COVID, I realized that the week before, I was on the go all the time. I was socializing with people. I was having so many interactions with people and meeting so many people. I was also taking dance classes. I was just out and about doing so many things. And I haven't done that in a while. And then, so which makes sense that right after I did that, then it's almost like a sickness comes down to me because my body's like, oh my gosh, okay, you are expanding your capacity right now. So then you will have to experience some sort of, sicknesses to kind of balance it out and kind of like get you back to the kind of like the homeostasis stasis of your natural rhythm of where you are supposed to be at. And I'm kind of like, oh hey, it's almost like this illness I'm experiencing right now is a recalibration in my body to get me to when I expand my capacity and when I expand my ability to be with more and to do more in my life. And so I guess this is just a more positive way to think about me being sick, but it's a very interesting way to really look at it, right? Really think about, okay, besides just the science of getting COVID, like what are the other ways of how the universe is sending me this this sickness right now to teach me a lesson or to let me to send a message to me to let me know what else is here available for me. And how I interpret it is that universe is like, okay, you've done enough socializing and now it's time for you to really, really rest. And as you are going through the sickness right now, let your body recalibrate to a new way of how you would like to experience the world. And first, you have to get sick first. So, anyways, yeah. And so we're going to talk about resting today. And it really got me thinking because the past few days while I'm resting, as I mentioned before, I feel like mentally and emotionally, I've also been really, really reflective and a lot more intuitive and introspective with where I am right now in my life. And even though I'm not like actively quote unquote working a lot, I'm still thinking about my business a lot and pondering a lot and going inward a lot. And that has been so rejuvenating and so nourishing for me. And so today in this episode, I want to talk about how to really help you make it a lot easier for you to rest. Because I know, especially for a lot of us high achievers, we love to be on the go and doing all the time. Especially if you also have your own thing that you're also working on. If you have your own business, right? You are self-employed, then it's very easy for us to sometimes forget to rest or think that rest is not as important as doing and as working. And so I want to share with you some different perspectives to look at resting so that it actually makes a lot more sense for your brain to want to rest more, right? So the first thing I want to mention is that it's very hard, especially if for the whole day you're always on the go, you're doing all the time. It's very hard for you to switch from doing all of a sudden to just be lying on bed and trying to sleep. That's too big of a shift in your energy. That's too big of a change for you. And so what we want to do is we want to really help you create safety in your body to rest, right? This might sound weird because some of you might be thinking that, oh, but how can resting feel dangerous? How can resting feel quote unquote unrest, but quote unquote unsafe? But honestly, that's the truth nowadays, especially when we live in a capitalist society. We're always thinking about how to make things productive. We're always thinking about how to produce, and be on the go, and to make sure that we make the most, create the most efficiency and be the most effective with how we use our time and how we use our energy. Especially when we live in this kind of society, for the body, it can literally feel unsafe to rest, to just be here, to be in your being, and to not be doing, to just be. And so the first thing that you can really think about when you think about how to create safety in your body, the first one is that we want to have create transitions in your day that slowly helps you to ease your body into a less stressful and less alert mode, right? As I mentioned earlier, it's very hard for you to jump from thinking deeply about your project and working all the way to just lying on bed and sleeping. We need some sort of transition in between. For example, for me personally, I see my cooking time. Like after 5 p.m., I will head into the kitchen. Around 6 p.m., I will head into the kitchen and start cooking. That cooking time is actually my transition period to slowly transition me into the evening when I am resting, right? And so you can think about in your days, maybe as you just come home from work, how can you create a pocket of a transition period to help you ease into the more resting activities instead of just jumping straight to it? Because you're going to jump straight to it while your mind is still thinking about work. You're going to be in the evening, you're going to be eating dinner with your partner and your mind is still wondering about the project, right? Those things happen when we do not create the kind of the transition periods to help us slowly ease into the right mental states for us to actually start to rest. So that's something that you really want to think about. How can I create pockets of transitions after I finish work? Maybe as I go out for a walk before I head home and spend time with my partner. Or maybe it is I watch a YouTube video first before I allow myself to rest, right? How can I create those transition periods for me to slowly ease my mind and ease my brain to settle down? So that's number one. That's very important. Number two is we want to start practicing different beliefs that will help you to actually rest. A very simple thing that I always love to tell myself whenever it's the end of the day and it's time to shut my computer down and I'm still thinking, is that I will tell myself that it is safe now for me to rest. It is safe for me to rest. It is okay. Like, I'm going to be okay. I don't have to keep thinking about work anymore. It is safe now for me to rest. And immediately, it's almost like a switch button that helps my body and my mind to kind of ease into that state. Like, oh, okay, I can actually relax now, right? You can also take in a couple deep, long breaths of inhale, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then slowly exhale to help you ease more into allowing yourself to be able to rest. Really reminding yourself that it is safe now for me to rest. The second thing that I find has worked for me and also has worked for a lot of my clients is to tell yourself that I have done enough for today. I have done enough for today. Like, what I have done for today is enough. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm just working the whole day into the evening, I can accidentally just continue to think, okay, what else do I have to do? Oh, okay, I can do a lot more here. Like, especially if you are an entrepreneur, you can always do more, honestly. You can always do more. There's always more things that you can do, right? But eventually it's like, okay, how much of it is enough? We don't know. We decide for ourselves that it is enough. That is it. And so when you decide it is enough, and when you tell yourself that I have done enough for me for today, what I have done for today is enough, it can really help you to rest. It can really help you to like just relax your entire body into that different state of being. Okay, right? And don't forget, even though you're just thinking about these thoughts, but don't forget the true change, the true shift actually happens in your body. So don't just think about them, right? Actually think about it and let your body to really feel that, right? Tell yourself that it is now safe for me to rest and really allow your body to really believe that and feel into the truth of that. I've done enough for today. How does it make you feel? Maybe it makes you feel relieved. Okay, let your body to really feel relieved, right? Notice the shifts that might happen in your body. Maybe your shoulders start dropping. Maybe your entire body, it's almost like it's taking a nice sigh, and you just let your body sink deeper into yourself, right? Really feel those shifts as you are repeating those thoughts in your head. Okay, so this is the first thing that's very important, to create safety in your body. So that it can make it easier for your body to rest. The second thing that I want to offer, because this is the concept, this is the thing that the thoughts, the beliefs that a lot of us we grew up with, is that we think rest is not productive. We think rest is like when you're resting, you're not doing anything. And so when we think that, then we don't want to rest, right? And what I want to offer is, okay, let's make resting meaningful and productive for you, right? If resting feels like you're not doing anything, it just feels boring, kind of boring for you, then that's fine. We just go with what works for you, and what works for the society right now is we make resting feel meaningful. We make resting feel fun and feel productive. So let me share with you some things that I love to do. So what I truly believe about resting is that when you're resting, your body is still doing. Your body is doing so much. Your body is, your digestive system is running. Your body is like, your cells are getting to work with rejuvenation, with helping you rebuild your muscles. Your body is getting to work helping you nourish yourself and helping you truly prepare for tomorrow. You are allowing yourself to receive and to just recharge for the next day, right? When you are resting, your body is doing so much. And what I love to do, and I also think is very fun, is, so this is what happens. Every time when I'm about to sleep or around the evening time, I always start to have a lot of these like deeper thoughts. Like sometimes it can be like anxious thoughts, sometimes it can be problems I'm trying to solve. But basically a lot of the times right before bed, I'm like clouded by questions and things I want to do, and just like a bunch of things. I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I make sure that I can actually sleep when so many things are happening in my world and in my mind right now, right? And this is when I really remind myself that, you know what? There are a lot of things that I cannot solve right now with my conscious mind. If I continue to think about it, I won't be able to find the problems for them, to find the answers for them. So what I like to do is, I truly believe that I'll just send out the question, send out the thing that I want to solve for, and then I'll go to bed and then let my unconscious mind do the work to try to solve the question for me. And I do it in like a very non-attached way. And what's very interesting is that in the morning when I wake up, I'll be like brushing my teeth, and all of a sudden I will feel so much better. I'll be like, oh, wait, I think the thing that I try to solve for, I think while I'm asleep, like I kind of found the answer to that. Or, you know, when you're in that state of like, you're half awake and half asleep, like I kind of just think about it randomly. And then now I feel like I know what my next step moving forward is. A lot of times, resting and sleeping, your unconscious mind and your body gets to work to solve the answers for you. And a lot of the times when you're sleeping, you can actually connect deeper with the universe. You can actually connect deeper with the spirit. And that's how you receive the answers to what you're looking for. And so this is the way of how resting and sleeping can become so productive for you. I'm sure there have been moments where, let's say you're trying to create content, but nothing just comes through, or you're trying to think of how to solve a problem and nothing just comes through. And then when you're not thinking about it, like when you're not actively thinking about it, you're just walking your dog, you're just showering, you're just taking a nap, and all of a sudden you would have these amazing ideas that gets downloaded through you, right? That's because sometimes we don't have to actively use our conscious mind to solve for it. Sometimes when we are not, where we're just letting ourselves be for a bit, the answers will come. When we are just resting and re-nourishing ourselves and recharging, the answers will come. This is why resting can actually be the most productive thing that you can add into your day. It really helps you to show up at your best when you are ready to do your work, right? Instead of being stuck, you know that while you're just out and about dancing, out and about exercising, fun ideas and interesting things, and your answers are going to come, right? This is how resting can be productive and can be so meaningful. The other thing that I like to think about when we are resting is, I like to think about my resting time in the evening as I am preparing for my next day, for tomorrow, right? So in a way, I'm not really just doing nothing. I'm preparing for tomorrow. If tomorrow I want to show up at my best, if tomorrow I want to have my full energy and be in my full, like my most alive self, to be able to coach my clients, to be able to show up for my people, then of course, I've got to prepare myself at night in the evening for what's to come tomorrow, right? I'm gonna look over my plan for tomorrow, my schedule for tomorrow. I'm gonna do deep stretches so that I can get better rest. I am going to meditate if I want to. I am going to read a book if I want to. Like, all of these things are me preparing for what's to come tomorrow, right? And so if resting and doing nothing, if it just feels off to you, think about your resting period as you preparing for tomorrow, right? It's kind of like a different way of thinking about that provides some sort of movement for you so that you don't see it as, oh my God, so boring, right? It's like, actually, if I love effectiveness, if I love to be efficient, in the evening time, I'm just preparing for the next day. And this is my way of resting. And what would that look like, right? If I'm preparing for what's to come. Okay. The other thing that I also want to mention about how to make resting more meaningful and productive is that it is important to create your own evening routine where you are in your own energy. Okay, what do I mean by that? In your own energy. It means you are not stimulated and triggered by things that's around you. So it could look like scrolling on social media. That's you being stimulated by other people's energy. Do you see? It could be you watching a show right before you sleep. That's also you being stimulated by other people's energy. And so to make it feel like you are truly resting and feel like you are actually nourishing yourself is to be in your own energy. You could be doing activities that's in your own energy. For example, something I love to do recently I've been getting a lot nerdy and really diving deep into like healthy and clean skincare. And so in the evening, I have a whole routine of skincare that of like, taking care of my skin, a whole routine of it. And that takes about like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, but I love it because during that time, like I'm not listening to podcasts or anything. During that time, I'm just being with myself in my own energy in like a very therapeutic way and just taking care of my skin, right? I'm taking care of my skin, but I'm like so with me and so being in my own energy. So you can think about in the evening, how are you being in your own energy right now? Where in a way where you're not being stimulated by a lot of external sources outside of you, right? This is how we can nourish and recharge. And a lot of the times when you are in your own energy, then you start to wonder about things. You start to think about things that normally you wouldn't think about. This is when you start to receive downloads and intuitive knowledge and thinking and wisdom and like other ways of doing things only when you are in your own energy, right? If you are constantly consuming, it's very hard for you to download the ideas and be in your own way of living. And so craft out some sort of evening routine that you feel like you can be in your own energy and you feel like you can just thrive with you. It can look like deep stretches. It can look like skincare. It can look like going for a walk. It can look like just petting your pets, right? So many ways of what you can do to really nourish yourself and really allow yourself to just be present with what is. Okay, so we talked about how to make resting feel more meaningful and productive. And we talked about how to create safety in your body to rest. The next thing that I want to mention and really talk about is that we all rest differently. And so you really want to find your own way of resting. For some people, lying on the sofa and taking a nap is just not it for them, right? Because they just can't all of a sudden lie there and not do anything. resting for some people, it could literally just mean that, okay, it's just resting my brain so that I don't have to think about work anymore. And resting can look very, very differently for a lot of people, right? Especially, I want to offer, especially if you find that you're someone who always has a lot of thoughts in your head. You're always on the go, always be doing, and you just can't stay still. There's nothing wrong with you. We just want to find the right way for you to rest, right? We want to find activities that can maybe still provide some sort of movement for you, and it can still give you that nourishment, that being in your own energy, right? That rejuvenation that you're looking for. For example, I have a client who it's just very hard for her to rest. Like the whole day, all the time, she's always just thinking about work. And for a while, she was very stuck because in the evening, what she finds is that she would end up just consuming endless content, just watching lots of Netflix, watching lots of dramas all the way past midnight and all the way until like very, very late in the morning. And she just could not stop doing that. And her brain keeps on telling herself that this is her way of resting, right? Because work feels so hard. So she's just resting. And what I want to offer for her is that actually your brain is doing its best to help you rest. Because if you do not watch content, your body you will not let yourself rest. And so your brain's like, okay, let's just help myself divert my attention to something else so I don't have to think about work, right? And now it's just about, okay, let's help you find a different way that can help your brain to not think about work, but maybe it's not consuming content, right? Because physically, that's not her actually resting because she wakes up the next day feeling even more tired, right? When she doesn't have that much sleep. And so what we really found is her way of resting is exercising. So she hasn't been someone she hasn't even considered herself as someone who exercises. And so she started going to yoga classes and started going to the gym and start doing more workouts. And she realized that, oh wow, like when she's resting, when she is working out and exercising, that is her way of resting. Because when she's working out and exercising, she's not thinking about work anymore. And what's very interesting is that when she started doing that, she doesn't need to watch endless Netflix shows anymore. Because now her body has found a more nourishing and rejuvenating way for her to rest, which is through exercising. Do you see? Exercising, for some people, they might not see it as rest, but for my client, to her, it is resting for her. And so for you, you really want to find your own way of resting, whatever that looks like for you. And for a lot of people, it might not look like you just staying still. Resting for a lot of people, especially if you're a high achiever, especially if you're always thinking a lot and doing a lot, resting to you, it might just look like another activity, another form of movement that is you're still doing something, but it's rejuvenation for you. It could look like cleaning up the place, right? I love to do like deep cleaning late in the evening. Like it is my way of resting right before bed. Sometimes I just can't go to bed right away. So I have to get up and I need to clean the house. Right? I need to have some sort of rest movement either the evening first. It's kind of like a way that like there's still fuel, internal fuel that is in your body. And so I need to get rid of all of it first before I can sleep, right? And this is true for a lot of people. Some people require themselves to use up their internal fuel fully at the end of the day so that they can actually rest and sleep. Do you see? And so there's very, very different ways that you can rest. And it doesn't have to mean forcing yourself to stay still. Okay, I hope this has been helpful for you because I think resting is something that is not talked about in the entrepreneurial world, especially amongst high achievers, because we are always thinking about how to be on the go and how to be doing all of the time. And so this is a really different way to think about to kind of help your brain to be on board with resting more, right? We want to create rest safety in our body, and then we can make resting feel more meaningful and more productive. And then don't forget to find your own way of resting. All right, everybody. May you all rest well this week. Have an amazing week. I will talk to you next week. Bye bye.